What is going on, everybody? It is Luke Feller with the Sideline Scoop, and today we have another prediction video. We got the Bears playing the Packers on Sunday Night Football, and to be honest, I wish we had a Thanksgiving game, because it seems like the Packers get them occasionally versus the Lions, but with Thanksgiving coming up in 2 days, I wish I could feast while I watch the Packers play, but, you know, Sunday will have to do. If you guys are new to this channel, I post Packers videos pretty much every single day. I also throw in some other NFL content as well, so if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you subscribe and turn on your post notifications, and also if you enjoy the video, make sure you drop a like on the video, because it really helps push the video out to more people. So we have the Packers coming in at 7-3 after the pretty sad loss to that Colts team in overtime. And then we have the Bears at 5-5, currently on a 4-game losing streak. And I know coming into the season, you know, through the first 5-6 weeks of the season, the Bears were rolling. They were 5-1, even though their offense hadn't been playing very good. Of course, they switched from Mitch Trubisky to Nick Foles, and now it just seems to not be going too good for the Bears in the past 4 games, now having lost 4 in a row, sitting at 5-5. And coming into this week, it seems like right now, at the moment I'm filming this, you know, we're not really sure who's going to start at quarterback for the Bears, because Nick Foles and Trubisky have some injury problems. But some people seem to think, sort of majority of what I've sort of read right now is that it looks like Trubisky might be the one to start. But we'll sort of have to wait to see later in the week who ends up actually getting to start. So we're not really sure at this point. So far, when Nick Foles has been starting, the Bears are 2-5. He has 1,852 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a 65% completion percentage. And you guys can pause the video right now if you want to take a look at his game-by-game stats. They're sitting there. So we'll see later this week if it's Trubisky or it's going to be Foles to play in this game. Who knows? Maybe it could be someone else. You never know what could happen. So if we take a look at the Bears' offensive rankings so far this season, they are not very good. They are 31st in the NFL when it comes to points per game, averaging 19.1 points per game, and only the New York Jets are worse at 32nd. When you take a look at their passing yards per game, they are 25th, averaging 222.7 per game. And if you take a look at their rushing attack, they are dead last, ranking 32nd, averaging 78.2 yards per game. So this Bears offense just has not been good at all so far this season. So coming up against a Packers defense that has had trouble at times, but if we take a look at the Packers defensive stats, we're 17th in points allowed, averaging 25.8 points allowed per game. 13th in rushing yards allowed per game at 113.7, and 13th in passing yards per game, averaging 230.6 per game. So we like to think that the Packers defense could come in here and do well against a very, very bad Bears offense. But the thing is, you never know in a division game. It can obviously be much closer than you could expect. And so coming to this game, I hope the Packers can come in and, you know, bring pressure on Foles or Trubisky or whoever is going to be in that backfield, or in the, as a quarterback basically, because this Bears offensive line has been very, very bad so far this season. So hopefully the Packers can, you know, take advantage of that. Hopefully Preston Smith can, you know, start playing a little bit better. Hopefully Zadarius Smith can get some sacks in this game, and maybe Rashawn Gary can, you know, do some damage versus a struggling Bears offense. And then if we sort of take a look at the Packers defense, sort of what happened in the second half of the Colts game, because in the first half, the Packers were rolling, the offense was rolling, the defense was doing pretty good, but coming into the second half, things sort of started to go downhill a little bit. The defense did make some good stops along the way, you know, sort of forcing them and holding them to some field goals, but they did allow the Colts rushing attack to really pick up the pace in the second half. So if we take a look at that second half, Jonathan Taylor had 64 of his 90 yards in that second half, and the Colts rushed for 7 first downs in the third and fourth quarter. So hopefully coming to this game, the Packers can, you know, stop this Bears rushing attack, which has been dead last. I really do think the Packers defense can come in here and, you know, hold this Bears offense in check. So then if we take a look at the Bears defense, they are honestly pretty good. They are 6th when it comes to points allowed, averaging 20.9 points allowed per game. They are 10th when it comes to passing yards allowed per game at 225. They are 14th when it comes to rushing yards allowed per game at 115.1. And then one area where they're sort of struggling a little more as compared to, you know, being 6th in scoring defense, they're actually 18th when it comes to sacks per game, averaging 2.1 sacks per game. And that is actually the exact same number that the Packers have. The Packers are also averaging 2.1 sacks per game. So, you know, that's sort of good news considering when Aaron Rodgers is protected, the Packers have been able to move the ball. You know, one of the big games that stands out where that didn't really work out was, of course, against the Buccaneers earlier in the season, where the Buccaneers just really brought pressure on the Packers and really forced Aaron Rodgers to struggle during that game. So considering the Packers have, you know, probably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, coming against the Bears defense that has had trouble at times, you know, getting pressure on the quarterback, that's, you know, is good for the Packers, of course. But in the one area where the Bears defense has really, you know, been better than everyone else in the NFL, they are first when you look at this stat. So they are first when it comes to red zone defense, when it comes to allowing touchdowns, allowing a touchdown on only 44% of, I guess, red zone attempts. And so obviously that's going to be an area where the Packers need to convert when they come to the red zone. So that'll be a good challenge for this Packers offense. But of course, the Packers have been rolling on offense. They still put up 31 points on, probably the Colts defense, which is one of the best in the NFL. And so Rodgers has been playing lights out this season, has 2,889 yards, 29 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a 115.8 passer rating. And if we take a look at his stats in that Colts game, he played very, very good. He had 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 110.7 rating. So coming against this Bears defense, yes, this Bears defense is pretty good, but I do think the Packers offense can put up points against this Bears defense. If we take a look at Devonta Adams as well, he's been playing amazing this season. He is number 1 when it comes to receiving yards per game in the NFL, averaging 105.88 yards per game, and he's really just been automatic in pretty much every single game, of course, besides the games that he has missed out because of injury this season. But if we take a look at that Colts game, honestly, it's crazy because he can have a great game. You don't even really recognize it. It's almost like you're just so used to it. But he had 7 receptions for 107 yards and 1 touchdown in that Colts game. So obviously, Rodgers and Devonta Adams are, probably one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the NFL. So I expect them to, of course, have some great connections against this Bears team, even though they are very good. But then if we take a look at the Packers rushing attack, honestly, not as good as a passing attack. We are 14th right now when it comes to rushing yards per game, averaging 115.9. If we take a look at Aaron Jones, he started off really hot. In his second game, I think he rushed for 168 yards versus the Lions. But honestly, in the past few weeks, he just has not been good. Of course, he did come off that injury a few weeks ago. So if we take a look at his stats game by game, in his last 6 games, he has not been able to rush for more than 71 yards. And right now, he's actually 14th in the NFL when it comes to rushing yards per game, averaging 66.75. So obviously Aaron Jones is still a great running back. He just hasn't been as good in the past few weeks when it comes to running the ball. In the past 4 games, he's only averaging 3.3 yards per carry. So hopefully against this Bears defense, he can sort of improve in that area. So my score prediction for this game is going to be Packers 31, Bears 17. I'll be curious to hear your guys' thoughts and sort of your score prediction in the comments down below. But I just think because this Packers offense has been rolling, I think they will put up 30+ points. And I think that because this Bears offense has been struggling at times, I think that, they'll probably be able to get, 14 to 17 points against this Packers defense. So those are sort of my thoughts on this game and sort of what I see possibly happening during this game. So if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like on the video down below. And if you want to see some more content, make sure you subscribe as well. But thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the next video.